Welcome back to another installment of The Wine Guy here on 92.1 WGHN. We're being joined by Jeff Kretschmar. He is the sommelier out there at the Grand Haven D&W, and we've had the show on for a couple of weeks. And first week we talked about wine, and last week we talked about beer. And then when you told me last week what you were going to talk about this week, in my head I started thinking, because our show is all about pairings, and I'm like, I had never heard of anything pairing with this. Today we're talking about bourbon and things you can pair with bourbon.
That is correct. We have three great food items here that can always be paired with bourbon. One is always, of course, chocolate. You can never go wrong with chocolate, whether it's wine or beer or bourbon. So that's always a great pairing. Cheese, of course, we all know wine and cheese. Well, bourbon and cheese go just as well, but it's got to be a little bolder, stronger cheese. And then, of course, your smoked pork always goes good with any steaks. Anything off the grill really goes good with a bourbon.
For the folks at home, I mean, like, people hear bourbon, but then they, where does bourbon fall? I mean, is bourbon a whiskey? It's the same thing, or where does it fall in the spirits world?
Well, bourbon, it does fall in with the whiskey, but there is a difference. Number one, bourbon does have to be barreled in new oak aged wood barrels, so it cannot be used oak. And then also the different ingredients that have to be right and just come in Kentucky. That's kind of like the champagne of the world.
Like we talked about a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's correct. So bourbon falls in the same thing, only from the Kentucky area.
Okay. And of course, again, these products that we're going to be talking about today, everything here is available at the Grand Haven D&W. But what bourbons are we going to be talking about today?
We have the 1792 small batch, which is my personal favorite. This is one that I really like, my everyday little sipper. I like that one. The weekend one, I'll do the 1792 full proof, which is a lot higher in proofage. The small batch is at about 93% ABV, and then the full proof is at 125. A little spicier, a little hotter. It's what I basically call my weekend girlfriend. So that one there gives me gets a little sassy, a little hotter, puts me in my place right when I need it.
Sure. Trying to get the show back on track here. It says small batch on here. So am I to assume that they didn't make a lot of this particular kind?
No, basically what that means is that they went ahead and took a small amount of barrels, put them together, mix and blend them.
Gotcha.
And then went ahead and poured it into the bottle, which is how you get single barrel bourbons. Now, the single barrel bourbon, it only came out of one barrel. So that's how we get those types of name categories for those. Okay.
And then just for the folks out there, because now I'm curious, how long does it take from when you, how long does it take to make a bourbon?
Usually anywhere, the minimum is usually 4 years.
Oh, okay.
So it goes from 4 years, all the way up to 25 years, 30 years, even higher sometimes.
All right. And then they put them in the oak barrels because when the oak interacts with the bourbon, it makes the flavor.
That's correct. All the nuances that comes out with it.
Okay. All righty.
They have charred barrels that's up in there where they actually put fire inside the barrel, burn it, and then goes through there, which gives you that smoky flavor in the bourbon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And
like that.
And these all hail from the great land of Kentucky.
That's correct.
Okay.
And then we also have, which is another one, the 1792 now is an everyday good. You will be able to find it. Occasionally, it's a little hard to find, but normally, typically, it's very easy. The other one that I brought here is the Blantons. Blantons is one of those what we call allocated bourbons. Allocated bourbon means that they make a small amount of it, then they disperse it out. People are always searching for it. The big bourbon guys are always on the hunt for that. I cannot tell you how many times a day I get somebody coming in, D&W, and asking, do you have Blantons? Do you have Eagle Rare? Do you have Elmerly Tea? So those are the types that are very allocated, hard to get, but yet we get them on a frequent rotation. And so I'm always happy when someone comes in and asks for it and I can provide it.
Okay. And then again, as we've learned in our tastings of beer and wine, it's the same rules, the pouring in the glass and the whole shebang.
That's correct. Okay. And especially on your nose, you're going to get a lot different nuances in there, especially like with the cinnamons and the smokiness. So you'll get that in there. And again, when you put it in, let it coat your mouth, and then go ahead and sip it down. Now, on some of the higher proof ones, you're going to get that burn.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't like that burn, just make sure you look at the bottles and you get the lower proofs. Most of your normal batches are going to be anywhere between 80 to 94. When you get something that's called bottled in bond, that means it's definitely 100 proof. And then anything after that, you'll get your special reserve, your small batches, your single barrels are definitely going to be a little higher sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, all right. Well, we've done a lot of talking here, Jeff. Why don't we let's get down to the show?
Yeah, I kind of noticed we got a side guest in here. He's also kind of
we have a special audience today, and just making sure everything's above board.
Yeah, get his ID first.
Okay, and he's pouring the bourbon now.
We got the 1792 small batch.
That's a very strong smell.
When you say strong smell, what does it mean? Like the alcohol?
Yes. I mean, it's not overpowering. I mean, it lets you know that you're in the big leagues. That's for sure.
Yeah. But you go ahead and you pull off on that. What are the other little nuances, things that you'll...
Spice. There's a spice to it. I see our audience has already had his.
Yeah.
But it's clean. It's a clean smell.
Yeah.
And it's,
I get like the vanilla.
Yeah. A hint of cinnamon. I actually, because it's oak, but I smell it like a woody flavor, like a pine. Yeah, I smell like a pine, like a very, very strong pine.
From the wood.
Okay.
All right, now go ahead and give it a taste.
Here we go.
Yes. So as you get there, like I said, hold it in your mouth. Right in there. Swallow that down. And just see what comes to your mind.
Well, there's some cinnamon.
Yep.
There's a cinnamony flavor. Got a little kick on it. You can feel it in the back of your teeth. Yes, but it goes down smoothly. It's not like an abrasive flavor. It's not like a moonshine or anything like that. It's very smooth. Yeah, that's good though.
Now, do the same thing as we did with the wine and with the beer. Go ahead and take your choice of food that you like to try.
All right, our special guest will come in too. What would you recommend first here to start with?
Well, to start out with, I definitely recommend the cheese.
Start with the cheese.
I would take a little of the cheese.
Little piece of Gouda here?
We have some smoked Gouda, which will bring out some of the smokiness in there. All right. And that's what we want to do. We want to bring flavors out. We don't want to overpower the flavors.
And now again, for the folks at home, so we know how to do this, you take a little bite of this, then you let it sit in your mouth a second, and then you take a hit of this, and that's the science.
There you go.
There you go. Okay, here we go.
Way to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow, smoky.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh! Wow. Now that turned that. I did not. Wow. There's some smoke there, but I did not expect that at all. That was totally different than taking it straight.
Right.
Totally different.
And that's how it either calms it down or it can amplify it. It goes both ways.
It calms it down, but I mean, it's weird when I'm trying to describe this. When you taste it, it's like it swirls over in your mouth. It's like it twists, and then boom, there's a big plume of smoke at the end of it. But I mean, it's cool. It's really cool. Yeah. I like that.
Now you can go ahead and try some of the pulled pork from the smokehouse at D&W.
Just have a little more sample here, just because I'm, for the experience here. I got to top that off. I think our audience needs some more too. Yeah. Okay. So you say the pulled pork.
Oh yeah, grab some of the.
Let me grab a fork here.
Right there.
And once again, everything we're talking about here, all the foodstuffs, this is all available at the Grand Haven D&W.
That is correct.
Is this from the smokehouse?
That is from the smokehouse. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, I personally love that smokehouse on lunch breaks.
Where's the smokehouse located? Is it over in the corner?
It's over by the dairy, by the deli section, the donuts.
Okay.
Over in that area.
Okay.
Which would be the south side of the building. But technically, no, it'd be on the north side of the building. Looking at it.
Now this is the pulled pork I had. Yeah. Oh, pepper.
There you go.
Well, it's interesting because when you have the pulled pork, it makes this a little, I can feel the smoke in my nose. When you have the pulled pork, it makes it feel, I don't want to say the word palatable. It takes the edge off of it.
Right. It
big
takes
time.
the edge off.
Big time.
That's
but
right.
then, like when it goes down, all of a sudden there's pepper, and smoke. So very cool.
Now you can also go ahead and take that edge down by putting ice cubes.
Yeah, water.
If you see that, right? A little bit. I prefer ice cube because ice cube will basically cool it. Mm-hmm. And especially with the new ice cube mold makers that they have now, the bigger style, big block types, you want to put those in as opposed to the small ones from home. And you want to use distilled water because distilled water will go ahead and dilute slower. And in a bigger format, so you don't really want to water it down. I remember Grandma we had a saying where, Grandma wants some dirty water. Yeah. We always ask Grandma, then we do like the Kessler's water. Yeah. Dilute it down. They called it, in our house, it was called dirty water. Yeah. So you don't want that, but you want to put that ice cube in there, and it brings out the flavors and the aromas in there. A little bit of coolness and crisp. Brings it right out. So that's always a nice thing to do. A lot of guys, will drink it with an ice cube. Yeah. Some guys will drink it neat, which is, each is their own preference.
Okay. All right. Well,
so now you're going to hit some of that chocolate.
Some chocolate here.
Yeah, there you go.
I'll break this now. That's a lot of chocolate. I'll take a little.
That's a lot, yeah.
What kind of chocolate is this?
We got the Lindell chocolate. It's the 85 cocoa. 85? Yeah, 85% cocoa.
Okay. So I'm very intrigued how this is going to go. Okay. So again, this should be sweet. So here we go.
All right. Chocolate is always good. I always like to do the pairing of the chocolates with that. My girlfriend is a master chocolatier. And so I've always had chocolate around to be able to do all my pairings at my wine classes and my food classes.
Dark chocolate's good for your heart too.
Dark chocolate, yes, it is.
Just dark. Now, other kinds not, but dark is.
Dark is very.
Okay, here we go.
And white chocolate is real. It's not real chocolate. So where do you come out with that one? Where do you see that?
Where do I see that? Well, let's see. That was the smoothest of all of it. The chocolate really took a lot of it. There's some pepper, but not as peppery. Ooh, there it comes. Boy, I can really feel that on my tongue. It feels peppery. No smoke. I don't get any smoke off that. It is a sweet. It kind of it makes this taste sweeter, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yes, it does.
Yeah. So I'm talking about the dark chocolate. So
yeah, and that's exactly what it should do because you wouldn't get any of the smoke either. Even though the pulled pork was with the smokiness and the Gouda cheese with the smoked Gouda, but this here not at all. Okay, you went ahead and pull out, and that's where you see the difference on there. Right.
And for those listening at home, my sinuses are clear right now. So let's.
And then now with the next one that we're going to head into. Now this, like I said, the allocated one, which is the Blantons. And everybody's in for the Blantons. And as you see, number one for the big reason with these Blantons are the horses on there. People are always asking me for the ones can you open it up and make sure it's a certain letter? Because each one of the horses has a different letter on there. And when you collect them, each of the little, memorabilia things on the top there is a different stance. And when you get the word Blantons, and if you put them in a row, it looks like the horse is running.
Oh!
It's up across the finish line.
Oh, very cool.
So.
Oh, it looks like a chess piece, too.
Yeah. A lot of people done it. I've actually had a friend of mine build a Lazy Susan, and she put the holes in there for me. And then I went ahead, put all mine in there, and then I spin it, and it actually looks like the horse is running.
Oh, that is cool.
So,
all right, so the Blantons is in the glass, and I'm taking a sniff.
Now, this is a single barrel. So, this is where we have the, all from one barrel. Really nice. And the funny thing about these are all considered high rye bourbons, which mean they have, the rye that would have a little bit of the sweetness into it, as opposed to some of the other bourbon that don't have a little tiny sweet at all. They're just really big and bold. So on that, you can smell that. You can just smell the sweetness.
Yeah, no, it's not as, I want to avoid the word strong. It has a different aroma than the other one. Not as woody.
Yep.
But it's, you know what it is, but it's not overpowering by any stretch. Let's take a little sipperoo here.
Yeah. Nice, smooth, calm. It's not as harsh
No, not as harsh. Not as harsh. No, as my granddad would say, that's a sipping bourbon right there. That's a sipper. That's a sipper. Ooh, that's nice.
That's true. And and both of these are really good, even if you're going to make an old fashioned. You know, they really have a great ability to make a Manhattan, an old fashioned with these. But when you start getting into the single barrels, and you don't really want to start to mix those into the drinks.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I gotcha. Okay. Well,
but again, if you go down the line here with the tasting, I definitely highly recommend starting that. Start with your just jump to the pulled pork if you like.
Yeah, pulled pork. There you
go. And again, you'll see the difference between this one versus the 1792.
Yeah. All right. A lot of pulled pork over here.
Yeah.
There we go. All right, have a little pulled pork.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I'm starting to feel like DoorDash. Okay. You guys took well.
No, I took. All right. So we got the pulled pork, and the pulled pork very good, by the way. Moist, good.
I take some of this home and I make sandwiches with the with the buns. That's always good.
There we go.
And they also have, I think, about 4 or 5 different sauces that you can actually bring back with you.
Okay, so there's smoke, definite smoke, some pepper, but this time I left a little in my mouth, and it changes the flavor of the meat a little bit too. So it makes it more succulent, more just more flavorful. Gives a little bit more of a burst to it.
Yeah, and it's a little calmer down in the alcohol. On that as well.
Oh, yes.
It's not as harsh and as burning as the other one. Right.
No, this one, you'll remember phone numbers with this one. Yeah. That's good stuff, though.
Yeah, and I go ahead and grab it with the chocolate. We'll finish this little round out here with the chocolate. So,
again, dark chocolate.
Yeah, the dark chocolate. And with that, the 85% cocoa.
Okay, now this go around. So I left a little chocolate in my mouth. When that stuff hits the chocolate just bursts with flavor. You can just feel it go pow right in your mouth. So, yeah, it's like a firework because I'd left a little in the corner of my little cheeky, and boom, it went off. So, very cool. A question I have when we talk about all this stuff is, like, how do you learn all these pairings? I mean, are they in a great book somewhere? And when you become a sommelier, you learn all this stuff, or is a lot of it trial and error?
A lot of it's trial and error.
Okay.
As a young kid, like I said, I grew up in Lithuania, born and raised in Lithuania. We didn't drink water with our meals because of the fact that someone had a great idea of invention of using lead pipe or steel pipes, for our water system, and it didn't work too well. And so we would always, have something else to drink. Wine was our number one choice. But then we also had, some whiskey as well as some beer and stuff to drink with our meal. So I've been, sampling, drinking. Not, when I say I've been drinking as a young kid, I'm not sitting around with a 6-pack, like I was in college.
Yeah.
No. It came on later.
Yeah. And through trial and error.
Right.
That's how you learn all this stuff. Okay. Well, again, this is Jeff Kretschmar. He is the sommelier at the Grand Haven D&W. Everything we've been talking about here, the Blanton's bourbon, and also the 1792, and then the pulled pork, the Gouda cheese, and the dark chocolate. All of this is available at the Grand Haven D&W. And these are on the shelf right now, correct?
Yes, they are.
They are. All right. And then, Jeff, as we've been telling people, we want them to come out and see you. We want them to come out and take part in this thing. Because it's always good to ask questions. Don't just, if you're going to a party or something and you're going to get a bottle of something, why not ask an expert? Because then you look like you know what you're doing, because you don't want to bring a bottle of Thunderbird to a very high-end event.
That's correct. And like with the things like with the allocated bourbons, especially the Blantons and stuff, those are not something sitting out on the shelves that you can get. Those, because of the fact that they're allocated and everybody's looking for them, they will hoard them up. They will, just buy up as much as they want. I go ahead and want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to have some. So I don't put that stuff out. You come and you ask me. If you see me, ask me. If I have it, you're more than welcome to it. I'll be glad to sell you some. But what I don't want is to have it all out there, have some of these second-hand stores come in, buy them all up, and then sell it to you at the second retail market price. So everybody gets a chance for it. And if I have it, ask. It's yours.
Okay. Folks, this is Jeff Crutchmeyer from the Grand Haven D&W, and a reminder, he is out there every day of the week except Wednesday and Sunday. And again, we're going to do the fruit basket promotion. We've been doing this the last couple weeks, and this is how it works. It's very simple, okay? We're going to put this post up on our Facebook page. We put this whole show up on our Facebook page, and all you have to do is you just have to like it. Just click like, and then what we do is we randomly choose somebody, and that person can go get the fruit basket on Saturday or Sunday after this airs. So the show airs on Friday, so it'll be either tomorrow or the next day they can go pick it up.
Yeah, you guys will notify the winner. We'll have them come on in. They come up to this customer service desk, and we'll have the basket ready for them.
And we've had a lot of positive feedback on the show. We thank you so much for giving us that feedback, and I must admit I'm having a lot of fun doing this. Mr. Crutchmeyer, as always, it's a pleasure. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right. We'll see you guys then.
This has been The Wine Guy on 92.1 WGHN.